Hello all, my name is Captain Cat017 and I welcome you to Not an Actor. Join me as I learn about stage, voice and camera acting. As we journey, please keep in mind that I'm not a professional actor, hence the name of the podcast. We're learning together. And today, we're learning from the talented Cody. So why don't you give yourself a little introduction?
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. My name is Cody. Some people know me as Wolf141 on Discord. I have been a voice actor for roughly about 4 years now. Found myself doing some various free projects on the internet, have done some professional work for the business I currently work for, and now I currently host a podcast for the Actors Network. And things can only get better from there.
Great. So you're here today to talk about comic dubbing.
Absolutely.
You, I believe, are quite familiar with comic dubs. Not only my project, but I've seen you around on different Discord servers and things, like Casting Call Club.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and you seem pretty active there, auditioning for things like comic dubs. So would you say you have a fair amount of experience in comic dubbing?
I would say that I do. I've started to flex over into more professional projects, as far as industrial narration, educational materials for training videos for companies and things like that. So it leaves me very little time to have fun with the comic dubs like I like to, because that's what they are. They're fun. They're low pressure. You get to work as a part of a team of people who just enjoy a particular webcomic or series, and they want to put their own spin on it with their voices and sometimes their own style, however they want to do it. And so, yeah, when I first got my start in doing voice work, I got signed up with castingcallclub.com and just poked around there and just looked to see what was out there for me to do, and came across quite a few interesting webcomics. Some I've heard of, some I haven't heard of, and then obviously I was approached by you, Captain Cat, to play a part in your comic dub, and it's kind of funny how that happened, isn't it? I was just randomly on the Discord one day, and you just put out a message saying, "Hey, anybody willing to play a robot?" And I just kind of raised my virtual hand, and I'm like, "Sure, I'll try. What's the worst that could happen? You tell me, no thank you, have a good day."
You got the role, so there is only one correction I have to make, just real quickly before I forget. You said castingcallclub.com. It's actually castingcall.club.
Oh, yeah, castingcall.club.
Yeah.
Right.
I get that confused sometimes, too.
I mean, look, I'm a voice actor. I say other people's words. I'm not supposed to be smart, okay?
So, speaking of Casting Call Club, would you say that's a good way to start building experience for a voice actor?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't approach Casting Call Club in the hopes to start making money right off the cuff, if that's what you're after. But I do think it is an excellent resource if you are absolutely new to the game. You got your computer, you got your microphone, but don't know how to treat your recording space, and you haven't done a whole bunch of homework as to how to audition, slate, get consistent work as a voice actor. say if you're starting from rock bottom, castingcall.club is a really good resource because it's all in front of you. The audition process is simple. You get almost instantaneous feedback whenever somebody wants to give you feedback. The ability to connect and work with people is right there. You don't have to go out of your way. It makes the job of voice acting and the activity of it very easy to understand and pleasurable.
Yeah, and it's free to sign up, which is good. A lot of people don't like spending money until they know it's something they can do.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so you, as kind of a veteran of comic dub casting calls, what's the biggest turn-off for a comic dub casting call, and why?
The biggest turnoff, and I'll preface this by saying this is just my opinion. Other people who do comic dubs and stuff will, of course, have different opinions than I do. But personally, for me, some things that I've ran into that made me just say no to a project is number one, if there's too much ego going on with the people running the project. First off, you have to remember you're recording lines. You're putting a voice to somebody else's work. Somebody who has really worked hard to write the story, illustrate the story themselves, and they went through all this painstaking work. And there's people. Sometimes people fail to understand that this is somebody else's intellectual property, and then they start treating it as their own and getting all, high and mighty with their actors, saying, well, I don't like it like that. Or, like just being really forceful and unprofessional, because you're there to explore the idea of what the character possibly could sound like.
Yeah, definitely.
But I would say unprofessionalism and getting too egotistical about the kind of work you're doing.
Though I'm not a professional voice actor or anything, I have tried my hand auditioning for a few comic dubbing projects, both playing characters and editing them. And one of the kind of things that turned me away from a few projects was that they didn't even know if the project could even be made public. Some of the things I saw were a project I auditioned for as a audio engineer and video editor. I won't name the project because I'm pretty sure they worked it all out since then, but I personally dropped out of it after discovering that the comic they were dubbing, they had found through one of those kind of sketchy sites where you don't pay for comics that you should have paid for. Yeah, so that's what made me drop a few projects, but yeah, that's just me. I personally like knowing that people have the ability and the permission to do it, I guess. Like for my comic dub, I knew Walter directly, so I went straight to him and I proposed the idea to him. I said, hey, is this something you're interested in? And luckily for me, he said yes.
Yeah.
So, moving on, why are comic dubs so popular, do you think? What's so good about dubbing a comic?
I think there's multiple reasons for it. But I think there is mainly three big reasons why people are so interested and why so many people get involved with doing them. The first is, I believe it's an easy medium to start in. Your material is already there, and especially if you're a fan of the particular comic that you're wanting to do, then you know all the lore. You already have a decent idea of how these characters are going to interact with each other, how you want the chemistry between your actors to be, and it just basically makes it a whole lot easier to just sit down and start recording, because you don't have to go through the time of like creating the story. Sure, it's proofread.
Everything's there.
Yeah. And the second one being, it's available. It is a readily available medium. Plenty of fantastic free webcomics out there. My wife and I read a good bit of them on the regular, and mostly because I can't afford to go out to the comic book store and buy comics every single time I want to.
Yeah.
So it's just a readily available medium that, you know, it's, if you see something you like, you can start putting your own flavor on it, just as long as you go through the right channels. And the third main reason I think webcomics and comic dubbing is so popular is there has been a massive surge in the interest in voice acting, because not to get too topical, but since, you know, the pandemic started and all that, a lot of people were stuck at home, couldn't go out and do all the other activities that they're used to doing.
Yeah.
And people are sitting there wondering, well, crap, what can I do? And through the wonders of the modern internet, you know, people get connected and
found voice acting.
Yeah, they found voice acting and they say, I want to try that. And then you know, some of the things that you see the most of is webcomics and people talking about them, dubbing them. You see them all over the place on YouTube.
Yeah.
So,
there's a large uproar in webtoons recently. Webtoon has become a very popular program. And by program, I mean website. Don't know why I said program.
Technically, it's a program. It runs on the internet.
Yeah, I guess.
But that's semantics.
But moving on. So you mentioned earlier how you actually play robots in my comic dubbing project for Walter Osley's webtoon, Hacksaw.
Yeah.
What drew you into that project specifically?
Well, the short answer is just curiosity. I've seen and heard of Walter's comic plenty of times, but I haven't actually taken the time to sit down and actually read it. So, you know, you presented me with this opportunity to get involved with something I already was interested in. And I also just really wanted to try my hand at a character that I wasn't too familiar with, because I have done character voices before, but I haven't had the opportunity to really...
It's not every day you get to play a robot.
Yeah, like you know, there's more to being a robot than just being all monotone and sounding like, you know, beep boop Mr. Johnson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.